Thank you, everyone. I am really happy to say that we have a lot of time left for questions and discussion. I am also mindful that we have a lot of Irish people in the room, and we do have to also leave time to party afterwards. All of you are invited to the reception next door. I wanted to kick off the discussion with a couple of the experts who we have in the room on the region and on the issues that we're talking today. And I'm going to invite Charles Haberl, who's the head of the Center for Middle Eastern Studies at Rutgers University, to step up. And I'm also looking for Erica. There's a microphone in the back. And Erica Razouk, who is an anti-corruption advocate at Open Society Justice Initiative. And while they're coming up to the microphone to ask the first questions, I want to remind everyone that we're being videotaped and recorded. This is good news because it means this is going to be saved for posterity, and it should be posted on the web sometime within the next week. It also means that everything you say is on the public record, so think about, a level of discretion that you would have with, say, Facebook, and make sure that you're keeping within the bounds of propriety. Charles, would you like to kick us off?
Certainly.
Thanks. Is it on?
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to ask the first question. I actually wanted to ask either for any of the panelists today a question about the informal scavenge economy. As you may know, in many of the countries in the Middle East, certainly most of the ones that I myself have visited, a sizable percentage of the population is dedicated to scavenging as its main source of subsistence. And it's not the sort of subsistence that makes them very wealthy, let's say. And very often these are the most marginalized elements of society. Very often this sort of poverty they live in is hereditary. The most famous case, of course, in this area is that of the Zabaleen in Egypt, in Cairo, most famously. But I'm sure you can also give examples from places like Amman and elsewhere. And I wanted to ask whether the solution to the poverty that they live in is economic, or perhaps it's political and legal, or if there are perhaps a civil society solution that you could offer, whether you'd like to speak about this. And I open this question to anyone who's on the panel.
Well, I think poverty is related to many issues, especially corruption. We have a problem of transparency laws. We have a problem of corruption. We have, there was, I think, one of the studies that, or the novels that won the Nobel Prize was about the connection the writer made between democracy and wealth. It was like maybe 6-7 years ago in India. And this is the problem in most of the Arab countries. We don't have the levels of transparency that businesses respect, or the governments. And the high levels of corruption is the one that is inducing poverty. Look at all of the, I mean, most of the countries in the Middle East and North Africa live on foreign aid. And another study revealed last year said that the foreign, the US and the European countries don't know where 65% of this money goes to. I think you know about the study, it was amazing, and they don't hold governments accountable for this. So I think, yeah, poverty is related to lack of human rights, increased levels of corruption, lack of transparency. The solution is more human rights, more NGOs working on fighting corruption.
Could I maybe ask, when you said scavengers, do you mean the waste pickers? Yeah. No, I mean, I've been very impressed with the waste pickers in Egypt, among other countries. The huge capacity to organize in, very real numbers, using now modern ways of communicating. And this seems to be true of Waste Pickers International. And waste pickers in Colombia won a court case against the city council, as I recall. And so I think there's a lot of learning across between waste pickers now. They're very in touch in different countries, and I think it's not so much. Well, it's economic, political, and organising. You know, even if you're very poor and very low status in the society, if your numbers are quite large, then you begin to have a certain amount of power, and I think that's what waste pickers are showing, and I think it's to be welcomed. And when I was serving on the board of the IIED, the International Institute for Environment and Development in London, there was a wonderful woman of the waste pickers in Egypt on the board, and she was very impressive. So I'm not an expert in the area, but I think that capacity to organize is incredible.
You mean Leila Skandar?
Yes, yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, about the Zabalin in Egypt, I've been working on that project in my past job with Save the Children. And they had a very harsh situation during the Mubarak regime when Mubarak decided to give garbage collection to 2 companies in Cairo. And that created a huge problem because garbage collectors in Egypt, in Cairo, practically, they established their livelihoods based on garbage collection. So what happened is that they collect the garbage, but also they sort it, they reuse it, they recycle it, and they sell it. So it is source of income for them, and part of their livelihoods was based on that, and even part of their health schemes were partly based on that fact that they were working as garbage collectors. Now, when the 2 companies came in and these garbage collectors were practically jobless, the companies failed actually, were not able to perform the jobs of these people that used to perform it, and they were all the time, the population in Egypt were all the time unhappy about what was the result of the company's work in terms of garbage collection. And now it's one of the hot issues in Egypt, in Cairo, and Morsi has been doing some, I mean, he might have a big mouth, maybe, I don't know, but he said, oh, we'll solve the problem of Egypt, of Cairo garbage in 100 days. I mean, something we've heard when he took office. And until now, this issue is really high on the agenda. I cover Egypt, so every day I look at Egyptian newspapers, and this is one of the hottest topics. Now you can see it every single day reported on Egyptian Ahram or Egypt Independent or Masr al-Yawm or so on. So yeah, thank you.